Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
What's good, people? What's good?
That's weird. All right, it looks a little different. But anyway, what up, Sean? How are you?
Man, I'm doing all right. You know what's missing? There
There
we
it is.
go. Oh, you was about you were doing the same thing. All right. I'm not I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna be very disappointed, Troy. You're gonna be very disappointed because I am not here to gloat. You know what I'm saying? See, pride comes before the fall, my son. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the Lions game, if there's one thing that the Niners could take away from that, is you got to check your pride at the door. You know what I'm saying? We ain't here to gloat.
Mm.
We ain't here to gloat at all.
One would think that you. It sounds like you grown.
Nah, I haven't. I haven't grown any. Like I'm still the same guy that I was before. You know?
Uh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I am. You know?
All right.
You got you
Anyway.
you got you gotta assess the situations. You know, as they come, Mark.
Mm.
You know, and if the if things start to look different, you should feel different. You know what I'm saying? What in the Larry King interview with Cat Williams, what did he say? Said some of the worst advice he ever gotten. He said, "Never change." You know what I'm saying? Some of the worst advice.
Mm.
People, people have to be fluid, Mark. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean
Yeah.
that you're a different person. You still the same guy.
You know what's funny, man? Maybe I'm a hater, but like when people say stuff like that, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's just some cool shit you said you thought of, right? Like, that, like everything he said in that, every answer he gave in that
Was just some clever shit. It
yeah,
was though.
like everything he said in the Larry King interview was just too smooth and clever for me to feel like it was natural. I was
Hey,
just
that
like,
shit was fire though.
no. I was
That
like,
shit,
yeah,
hey, say what you want. That shit was fire. It had the effect that he was looking for. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Nah,
definitely
but
did.
but but nah, man. Yeah, like um, let me put it this way: the only time you will see me hard body gloat like that, especially after like a playoff win or an NFC Championship game or something like that, is if we would have played the if we would have played Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? I have a high disdain for that man. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different with the Jordan Love Packers. I still have a disdain for the Packers, but I fucks with Jordan Love, so there's no hate there. You know what I'm saying? And the Cowboys, I don't care if we could have if this same game happened and it was versus the Cowboys. Yes, man, I'd be talking crazy right now. But I like the Lions.
Well,
So
listen, I honestly, I it's funny that you say that because I felt the same way about you guys. I was like, there's no animosity. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but now I actually do kind of be rooting for your downfall. And I was like, it sucks that that's where we are now. And it has nothing to do has the crazy thing is it has nothing to do with you guys beating us, the Eagles. Like, but it's just like I think all your players suck. Like CMC's cool. Ayuk don't really be saying nothing, but like for the most part, the rest of your guys, man, like
yeah,
Kittle might be cool too, but you got a lot
Kittle
of
is
shit.
cool. Kittle is cool. Yeah, yeah.
You got a lot of like crappy personalities over there.
You don't like Jawan Jennings. Hey,
Like
Mark. You know
Ron
what's funny?
Jennings be just shoot like Doug. Don't be shooting from the back, Doug. Like like you in the back row talking crazy. Like stop it. But
I'll say this, Mark. Is what I find interesting and funny though is ever since you said who the hell is Jawan Jennings, the man's been making plays.
crazy. He's
and
been he's been go, like he's been going off.
hey, real quick, just to let you know, and because I'm a Niners fan, obviously this is something that only a Niners fan would know. You know what his nickname has been since halfway through last year?
What was that?
Third and Jennings. Third and Jennings because that man be making plays on third down. That's what the players in the locker room call him, and they say that Jawan Jennings is one of our uh, vocal and emotional leaders on offense. So
What
he's
what's
like
good 420?
Giannis Haslam. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing you got to know about Jawan Jennings. Like that's why he's talking like that. Is because the other players on the team look up to him in that way. So that's why he's talking. That's why he's talking like he's somebody.
All right. I mean,
The other players on the team have empowered him, and that's
I
where he's at.
that's
And guess
fine.
what, Mark? I think it's just as ridiculous to see Juwan Jennings talking wild too. But you know what? If it's gonna help Juwan Jennings have the hubris needed to leap up and go try to catch one handed balls like that, then guess what? I'm all for it, Mark.
Well, listen, but talk to your opponent like that. Don't be like Doug. We out of it. We got our own shit going on, and you
Yeah,
guys like I don't like when we're not looking for you. We're not an upcoming matchup. Ain't nothing going on over here, and you
yeah.
just shooting over here. Like don't do that, bro.
I do have a problem with that. Like I said, I didn't like the Niners trash talking the Eagles after the Eagles got eliminated from the first round of playoffs. We're on a bye week, Mark. We not even like there's after that game was over. There's absolutely no reason for us to talk to you anymore. You're not even. It's not even a possibility of you guys ending up on our schedule. That's it. Let
Right.
it go, man. Like it's you're paying too much attention to the teams that you're not supposed to be paying attention to, and you know maybe part of that is the reason why we wasn't focused going into that Green Bay game. I don't know, Mark, but I just don't like it. I don't like us not being focused on the game in front of us.
Like, look,
So
man, like this wasn't even meant. Like this wasn't even on purpose. You wearing red, I'm wearing blue. This wasn't even on
that's funny.
purpose. But like this is how it is now. This is where we are.
You
Like
know what's funny, Mark? It,
I got to give you the middle finger at all times now.
yeah, and when you said you're starting to get to the point to where you're you really are praying for our downfall, you're rooting for our downfall, Mark. Um, I just want to show the people something because I really this is when I knew, bro. When I seen this message on Facebook pop up on my timeline, I was like, yo, I ain't never seen Mark root for a team that's not his like this. That shit says Jameson Williams, let's go. Boy, you was root open and dry, boy. You rooting hard,
Yeah,
Mark, but
you
you
want
know
to know
what?
what? But no, it's funny because that touch me even doing that had nothing to do with you. It had to do with that play. That dude broke like four. He broke like 4 or 5 tackles on that play. That joint was
Play
crazy.
was fire. Play was fire, Mark. I have nothing bad to say about that play. That shit was fire, Mark. It worked exactly how you would expect it to work. Jameson Williams is fast, and boy, did he look like it on that play, Mark. But look, man, if we're gonna start whispering about these games, man, let's get into it, man. Let's get in. Let's get into our topics, man.
All right, man. All right. Well, with that being said, we just going to go ahead and get into it. Chiefs defeat Ravens 17-10. So before we get into this film breakdown, essentially, man, what was your major takeaways from this game?
Major takeaways from this game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is what I'll say. I've seen some people make mention of how the losing teams this week lost these games, and I'll accept that for the Niners game. I'm not going to accept that for the Chiefs game because the Chiefs always show up and do what they're supposed to do. So my takeaway from this game is the Chiefs did everything that they're supposed to do, but it's what we expect from the team like the Chiefs. It's what we expect from returning champs. It's what we expect from them since Patrick Mahomes has been at quarterback. And on the other hand, the Ravens have done exactly what we kind of seen them do every time they get into this position in the playoffs. And that's questionable play calling. That's turnovers by Lamar. and then a little help by a position player. There's always Lamar turning the ball over at least twice, and some position player turning the ball over. This, as much as I can say, the Ravens shot themselves in the foot. I have to give credit to the Chiefs for doing what they always do, and and like you said, Mark, this is a quote from you, obviously, but Tiger ain't gonna change the stripes, man. That's what you've been telling me, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Lamar has been standing in the pocket for most of this season. And that's what they came to do because they had success doing it in the regular season. Now, that I asked a question mark back in week 11, week 10, when he started doing it and it started being effective. I said, now when we get to the playoffs and it comes time for him to run, is he going to be hesitant?
Here's the yeah, man, and I feel you, but here's my problem with that. Like, I don't like it because I don't like when people talk like that because I watched everyone turn Donovan McNabb into from a fantastic quarterback to essentially a mediocre quarterback. And the fact that he had ego problems made it even worse. But you know what I'm saying? Like he because if you come in and you are a dual threat, like you are a threat on the ground, you're a threat in the air. Don't ever stop being a dual threat. Don't. There's no reason to go out to prove to anybody, hey, I can throw this thing for 350 yards. So what? I don't get 150 yards running and get 150 yards passing. There you go. There goes 300 yards. Like who cares as long as it ends in a Super Bowl. The problem is you went out there, Lamar Jackson, and decided I'm you and your coaches decided I'm going to prove the world wrong about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can be a pocket quarterback. But guess what, man? Pocket quarterbacks are the way of the dinosaur. Like nobody really wants a pocket quarterback no more. Like you shouldn't desire to be that person because
Like, what I was going to say to your point, Mark, every GM and coach in the league is trying to get a quarterback that's more like Lamar.
yeah,
And meanwhile, you have Lamar trying to be a dinosaur essentially. Now, Mark, you're talking about having that willingness to continue to be a dual threat. You have to be threatening in both ways, right?
right.
I complained last week about Lamar Jackson standing in the pocket and holding on to that game plan for too long half in the first half of that Texans game. People forget that's why the score was what it was going into halftime. It's because he was sitting back there, and I felt like, man, you have to come out in the second half and you have to start making them pay. Like you have to start making them pay with your legs. And guess what he did? He did just that. He said, you know what? That shit didn't work in the first half. I gave it all I had. I don't need to continue to do this for another quarter to understand that it's not working. And that's what he did. He went out in the second half and he tore it up. Like I just question my question mark is what happened to that decision making? What happened to that adjustment that we saw happen in the Texans game that made the game get out of hand in the second half? What happened to that same decision making in the Chiefs game? Do you think that happened because they were playing from behind instead of playing from a tie or ahead?
No, I don't think it was playing from behind because you wasn't throughout the game. You were only down by 7 points
For
most of
most
the
of the
game.
game? Yeah,
For most of the game, and then by the fourth quarter, you were down by 10. Like big deal. You can you can work this. You guys weren't like you were never in that situation. You guys just put yourselves in a situation and you allowed the Chiefs to just sit comfortably with a 7 point lead through 3 quarters. Like that's insane.
you want to know what's crazy, right? If I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs got touchdowns on their first two possessions. They didn't score again till the fourth quarter. How, Mark? How
Oh
is it
let me find.
like
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I don't know where that thing just went. All right, but anyway, yeah,
yeah,
that was crazy. Go ahead. Oh, here we go, right in front of my face. Because I had some of these plays marked down, and
okay.
let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Let's not just keep talking about it. Let's show the people some of the stuff that some of the key takeaways from the game and
Yeah.
things that happen. All right, man. Like
All
I
right.
went over this game and I saw some of the video. Like I just want to point out certain things that happen. All right, so here we go. All right, man.
Lined up at the top.
Uh, and now you want to act. Now the internet want to act silly. All right. Uh,
That's crazy. We live streaming right now, but the but the video ain't loading. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Lined up at the top.
yeah.
Boy, what is happening, man? Yeah, we've been having some technical difficulties as of late.
All right. So let's see if it. You know what? Oh God, man.
Either way, Tobias, man, I know you saying the game plan made absolutely no sense. I'm gonna bring something up that I was talking to Mark about earlier, man. Um, on the broadcast afterwards, I
Lined up at the
heard.
top.
Oh, okay, never mind. We got
Ready
the
to
video
put on
working. We
pressure.
good?
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
Okay. If you
All
pause it
right.
for me, I can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
so after the game, man, they the announcers were talking as everybody was going to the field. They said, "Look, man, the Ravens they felt like they could come out here, and there's no way that the Chiefs can beat them playing man defense, and that they felt like they had the matchups when it came to the wide receivers and the DBs, and then they said, so that was their game plan coming into the game, and it just looks like it didn't work out for them." So, Tobias, I want to know how you feel about that. That your team, before the game, leading into this game, their game plan was to take advantage, quote unquote, of the one on one matchups on defense down the field.
Mhm.
Because that's crazy to me. That's a crazy game plan.
Yeah. Um. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know why they thought to come out with that game plan and why. I guess for me, the bigger point was why not? Why was there no adjustment in the second half?
That's the bigger question for me. I watched them adjust in the Texans game.
Yeah,
You know what
like
I'm saying?
you made no adjustment in that
It,
next quarter. Like
this is yeah,
it just didn't
one
make
of the
sense.
few. This is one of the few moments, Mark. I'll tell you right now. In the regular season, absolutely. I'm like, okay, this offense looks different now that Greg Roman's gone. In the playoffs, in this game, this is a moment where you wish Greg Roman was calling the plays. Like if Greg Roman was calling the plays, they wouldn't have been able to stay in those defenses that way, man. Like
Sean,
I don't know, but you got me up here on the big screen right now. Oh, I'll
all
check
right.
about
But yeah, so the biggest thing that I saw was that in the first quarter, and Lamar Jackson takes off up the middle on a 4th and 1, and he gains like 20 yards, or no, like I guess 15, something like that, on a 4th and 1 play. Uh, yeah, from the Chiefs 30 straight up the middle, and
yeah,
then on the next play, it's Gus Edwards who gains 15 yards on a run play.
yeah.
It's it's like it stopped right there. From that moment, the running stopped. Like they had 8 total run plays in the game.
Six of them to actual running backs.
Right.
So not only did you not run the running backs enough, but you didn't even run Lamar enough. Like that's insanity.
And to a degree they can't control the running backs I mean, they can't control Lamar running as much as they can control the running backs. If Lamar
Yeah,
chooses not to run or not to take off when the
yeah.
opportunity is there, somebody just has to grab him and be like, "Yo, what the
Oh
fuck are you
man,
doing?"
but
But it seemed
as you
like
see the
nobody
play that
was willing to
Tobias is
do that.
talking about, he said, "Why was he trying to stiff arm? He could have got away with the speed." That's the play. You
Oh
can
yeah, like that was the fourth and one play. Like he just kind of stopped. Like I was
I
like,
was
"What are
on
you
the phone
doing?"
with you,
Like
wasn't I,
just
Mark?
keep running.
And I said touchdown. I was on the phone with you, and I said that's a touchdown. And then it was like, oh wait, never mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a wild play, Tobias. I don't know what was going on, but
That's
between
not
that
that wasn't
play,
Tobias. That was Troy.
oh, that was a Tobias. My bad, Troy. I don't know what was going on, but when he took off, I said it's 4th and 1. This fool slipped through the middle, the one place that you know he's going to try to go. Y'all supposed to be watching it. The safety was down there with the gap assignment, and he was just standing there 5 yards back. He didn't do anything, and then I was like, okay, so he missed, and then he kind of missed the tackle, and I'm like, what's going on, man? Like that was a touchdown. Absolutely should have been a touchdown.
Yeah,
It's saying
man. I
he
don't.
got
I
it's
have
saying
no
he got
idea why
connectivity
it wasn't
issues over there. Yeah,
clearly. Like
yeah,
it would choose today, right, or when I need it.
yeah. Well, the
But
video, just to give you an idea, the video
anyway,
is slightly it's kind of choppy. Your audio's coming in clear though, Mark. So that's what I'm gonna tell you.
all right, all right. Well, I don't know, man. Bad day for that. Bad timing, rather.
That horrible.
Anyway,
Yeah,
um, so but from there, from that point, I wanted to show you guys on 4th and 2. Uh, the Chiefs, uh, the Chiefs were on the 4th and 2. Ravens on the Ravens 41, so they were across the 50-yard line, and this was with 9 minutes and 11 seconds left in the first quarter, and Kelsey comes down. I put it in quotes. Comes down with a gutsy analytic play call because this was it was a little bit too far for a field goal, and but you kind of
too
don't
close
want to
for a
punt
punt.
there. That's
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's usually what they call the analytics play. And in this play, um, Pat takes off, and this is where he throws it, and he throws it a little bit behind Kelsey. Kelsey turns and catches it. The only reason why I have that here is just to prove the point that Kelsey went and did what Josh Reynolds couldn't do. Or I shouldn't say couldn't do, but
he he
wouldn't do.
he. It's funny because you're not the first person I heard bring that up. I can't remember which analyst brought that up, but they were talking about it. And matter of fact, no, it was Shannon and Ocho. Man, they were saying people that are natural catchers, it doesn't matter if their hands are facing, where their palms are facing up or their palms are facing down. They can make those catches. That catch was in a place to where he should have been able to reach back and grab that. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Or if you can't catch, he's like, if you can't catch with your palms up like that, we've seen guys do it, Mark, where the ball is behind them and they do a motion like this. They spin their body around and they fall to the ground as they catch it with their hands up. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just one of those things where that should have it looked like a catchable ball, an easy adjustment for a veteran wide receiver to make. And he just didn't make it. But yeah, shout out to Kelsey, being Travis Kelsey. He broke Jerry Rice's did was it receptions or
His reception record.
playoff receptions? Yeah. Um.
Yes.
So that was a big deal.
Yeah, very much so. It was very much so a big deal.
Yeah, like yeah, we already talked about his case for GOAT tight end and how he could. There's a chance that if he keeps playing and he plays as long as we think he can, then he's going to end up in the top 5 or possibly top 3 when it comes to some receiving stats, not just for tight ends, but for all receivers in general. So shout out to Travis Kelsey.
Hey, to answer your question, Troy, do you guys think that that play will mess with Flowers' confidence? I hope so. Like, no,
I don't think
bro.
it
Like,
will.
no, and I don't mean that in a malicious way. Like, I hope he learns from that. I hope he learns, like, shut up and just play the fucking game, dog. Like, don't get too high, don't get too low. Just play play the game. You got up, did the dumbest thing in the world. Everybody, as soon as he stood up and stood over that dude, I was like, they gonna throw that flag.
Hey, you can't
And the
mush him to the
moment he
ground and
stood
then
up,
try to spin the ball on his chest, boy. That's crazy.
like, like I was like, bro, I was like, they're
Hey,
gonna throw that flag as soon as he stood up.
hey,
I
I
was
ain't
like,
never questioned a flag. I've never found an unquestionable flag call like that. That was that unquestionable before in a playoff game. Mark, that was shit. That shit was so unquestionable. It was like as soon as he mushed him, I thought it was going to get thrown, and then when he spun the ball like that, I was like, okay, he's bugging. Like, but
yeah.
let me put it
I was
this
like,
way,
this
man.
dude.
Let me put it this way. Zay Flowers on that play found out some, I'm watching a lot of TV, a lot of reporters and analysts talking about what's going on. And man, they said that Zay Flowers, prior to the game, I guess this is right after they won the last game against the Texans. They asked him about a touchdown celebration. Asked him if he had any touchdown celebrations for the Chiefs game, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I already got a
Hey,
touchdown celebration
I'll
planned."
be
What's up?
back. I'll be
Go ahead,
back.
man. I got you. I
This
got it.
this is doing too much.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So he was like, but yeah, they said he was like, yeah, I got a touchdown celebration planned already for the Chiefs, So he already went into that game bragging about how they had a touchdown celebration planned. You know what I'm saying? Which you saw. They did the whole swag surfing thing and all that. But like they came into the game thinking they were going to score a bunch of touchdowns. And then I heard that he guaranteed talking to the media, he guaranteed that he was going to get in the end zone, and he placed a bet with one of the players on the team that he was going to get a touchdown that game against the Chiefs, which explains the other play that he made, which was him trying to dive into the end zone and fumbling the ball. Like he had his mind on other things going into this game. Um, he needed to be humbled. Do I think he was humbled? I don't think so, man. If you look at his reaction on the sideline, he was like he was kind of throwing a fit, but it wasn't like a hey, I'm gonna hold my head and be like, man, I can't believe I did that. Like you know what I'm saying? And when you say is it going to shake his confidence? I don't think so because I think he's going to be just as arrogant. He's just going to be like, I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to grow from it the way that Deshaun Jackson grew from him dropping that ball before the end zone on his first NFL touchdown that he was going to get. So, but yeah, I'm going to bring up this comment here. What do we have? Okay, we have the Raven. The Ravens got scared of Mahomes. They forgot they were allowed to run the damn ball. Playoff pressure got them. Look, man, it's not even that they forgot that they were allowed to run the ball. Like I said, they came in there and their game plan was to exploit the fact that the Chiefs were going to play man defense against them. It was just a bad game plan going into the game. But the one thing I think it's crazy about that game plan is what you do in that situation. Everybody knows if you're playing against a running quarterback, you have to be careful if you're in man coverage because when you're in man coverage and everybody's going down the field, everybody's backs is turned to the offensive line. Okay, if that running QB gets loose, if he gets past that first level, good luck stopping him. by the time the defensive backs realize that he's out there running, it's too late. So you, as a running quarterback, you hope that you get man defense, not because you're going to try to throw on it, but because you understand if your guys aren't open, you have every opportunity to just take off. They said their game plan was to blitz him, and force him to take off outside the hashes instead of inside the hashes. He does like to take off up the middle. They said, we're not going to give him the middle to take off on. We're going to make him run to the outside and go. And for whatever reason, they were right, because it looked like he was super duper uncomfortable and very hesitant to take off when you were asking him to take off towards the sideline and turn up the field. What else we got here? What's up, Rob? Says, that's just who he is, but I do think he will second guess before he decides to do it again. And I know you're talking about the Zay Flowers thing. Certain people play with a high level of arrogance and it works for them. I just think he's one of those people. I think anytime he gets on the field, he believes that he's better than whatever DB that is in front of him. On most days he's correct. So I don't think he's a guy that's going to second guess himself the next time. He's not. All right. I know Mark had a lot more stuff that he wanted to talk about. Um, I don't know I don't know what else he's got in store. He took a lot of notes on these on the film and everything, but I'm gonna continue to talk here about the Ravens. Uh, Lamar Jackson. I think it just comes down to Lamar Jackson. Like, you got paid, right? The coaches are gonna coach. Coaches are always gonna make some questionable decisions, play calling wise, right? You're the quarterback. You're the coach on the field. Now, when you're out there executing a play that the coach called, if you're on your rookie contract and you're a young dude, you can get away with the excuse of saying, "Hey, man, I just ran the play that they called." But if you are Lamar Jackson, and if you are one of these quarterbacks that are getting paid $200+ million because of your ability to make plays, then you got to make plays when you're supposed to make plays. When the play doesn't work that the coach called, you have to step up and make plays. It's very simple. You can't you are not absolved of that responsibility. So the coaches can have all the bad play calling in the world, but you, as Lamar Jackson, the man that's getting paid all that money, you have to be the person to make that adjustment on the field. Welcome back, Mark. Are you good? Can you hear me, Mark? Okay. I'm not gonna bring him in if he can't hear me. Um See what Rob has here. I said this at the beginning of the year. You got your money. It's put up or shut up. I don't want excuses. You know what I mean? Excuses. I don't know, man. It's not even just you don't want excuses. I just want you to do what we paid you to do.
There we go. All right, I'm back. Catch me up. I'm sorry.
All right, yeah. I went over Zay Flowers because the question came up. Do you think he's going to learn from this? How do you think he's going to react? I
Yeah,
said he's still going to have the same arrogance. Some players just play like that. He plays like he every time he steps on the field, he looks at everybody across from him. He says, "No matter who lines up against me, I'm better than them." And I don't think that part of him is going to change. His reaction after doing the things that he did let me know that he's just like, "Ah, damn, I made a mistake." I don't think it's going to weigh heavily on him. I don't know if he now second guesses. That's what Rob said, is maybe he'll second guess next time when trying to dive into the end zone. Like, I don't think so, just because of his personality type. Some guys just play with that level of arrogance, and if they play like that, then they're never afraid to go back to that well. So I just don't think I don't think it's a Deshaun Jackson situation to where Deshaun Jackson drops that football before the end zone on his what would be his first NFL touchdown. Like I don't think he comes out of that immediately learning like Deshaun Jackson did. You know,
All right. Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson looked like he was hurt when that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Zay Flowers did not look like he was hurt. It didn't look like
Well,
he wanted to
it
apologize to his team. Like,
well it helps that it
yeah,
was knocked out and he didn't just drop it on its own.
yeah, you know.
But
But I'm, yeah, I'm just saying this. He's not going to second guess, and I don't, you know, and the penalty thing is just it's part of it's part of him coming into the game guaranteeing that he was going to get a touchdown and betting a fellow player that he was going to get a touchdown. You can't guarantee to media members that you're going to get a touchdown and then be in that position and not dive and go for it. You
well,
know what I'm saying? Like,
all right.
yeah,
Well,
but go
all
ahead.
right, let's see if this will work now. Let's see if we got action now. And yeah, no?
You're coming in clear. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm hearing you good,
Aguilar could not hold on to it. 1 second.
Uh,
dude. I don't know what's going on with your shit right now.
yeah, I don't know. It
Well, if
was
you still
working.
got your notes,
Looking
if you
for a
want to,
super offer.
Huh.
okay.
But yeah, anyway, I still got my notes. Um I still got my notes for it, so it doesn't even matter. It was just I would love to have given you guys the visual that showed it, but clearly none of this shit wants to cooperate today. So that's fantastic. Um, but anyway, um, where did you go over anything else from the game?
I just went over the fact that Lamar, if he's like, at the end of the day, Lamar has to make the plays. He's the coach on the field. He's the one who got paid the money to be the playmaker. And let's be honest, if you're that type of quarterback, then you cannot have the excuse of I'm just running the plays the way that they're called. You have to be the improviser. You have to be the guy that finds a way. So people that want to complain about the play calling, the deep balls down the field, some of that stuff. It is a valid complaint, but at the end of the day, there's so many more things that Lamar could have done during the game that was opportunities sitting right in front of his face that would have negated all of that, and he didn't take those opportunities.
Right.
So if you, yeah,
Uh, so listen, in this first half, right? I think when they were driving down to in the first half, there was I'm going to ask you this: do you feel as though in this game there was favoritism towards the Chiefs?
um, I will say that there was some missed calls that favored the Chiefs.
Okay,
I,
that's
I, I
fair.
don't want to. I don't want to full on say that there was a whole lot of favoritism, but the one thing the only play that I really felt hardcore like that about was the pass interference slash holding slash tackling of Isaiah Likely. That was crazy.
No, I thought what's funny is that one. I felt as though I felt the one where Lamar threw in the triple coverage. I thought that one was crazier because like you can't hit stick a guy when the ball is midair. Like you can't just hit stick him out the play. Like that was crazy. Like I thought that was more egregious. Like we see the ball nowhere nearby and they just take him out. I'm like that. Like I get that there was three guys over there and somebody and he wasn't going to be the one that catches it, but you can't just go ahead and tackle him and not throw a flag. Like that was wild
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, and like, but like we said before, Mark, it's on brand. Some of this stuff is on brand for the way that they've been calling these games. If it's late
Yeah.
in the game and there's contact down the field, the refs have been swallowing that whistle all year long, man, all year long. So I don't like some of the calls that they swallowed the whistle on, but I can at least say they've been consistent. And if they're going to be consistent, then that's something that you as a team can focus on and say, hey, on the offensive side of the ball, we need to look out for this. And on the defensive side of the ball, we need to take advantage of this. So
Yeah.
it
The
seems like there's
reason
a lot of teams out there taking advantage of it, Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's a lot of teams taking advantage of it. The reason why I asked that question though was because in the first half there was two back-to-back penalties against the Chiefs for holding.
Yeah.
That back like one took away a first down and the other one took away a touchdown. Like and and um those were kind of proof right there. Like you could say that they were calling a bad game, but you can't say that they were favoring the Chiefs because they wouldn't have thrown those flags, especially the one that negated a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just wanted to bring that up because like Chiefs were shooting themselves in the foot a few times with penalties.
I've seen Chiefs games this year where absolutely I was like I was like they are absolutely cheating for the Chiefs. I've seen games like
Yeah,
that this year. Okay, I don't think this was one of them. Seen
yeah,
way more egregious things happen during the regular season with the Chiefs.
100%. But yeah, late though it was those penalties late were kind of crazy, and
Okay.
why you say okay?
Oh no, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no. But yeah, those penalties late were kind of crazy. It sucks, man. Like I had this whole thing set up and now can't use it. It kind of really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Throws me off a little bit, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Um, but anyway, man.
Is is there anything else you want to say about the Ravens Chiefs game? Because if not, I want to get um I don't know if you want to get into the takeaways or you want to just move on to the next game and then do the takeaways afterwards.
Well, I want to talk about this like did you bring up the 3rd and 1 for Lamar where he just
I
stood there?
I did not specifically call that out. I briefly mentioned it. We can get into it.
All right, I'm going to set the scene. It's 3rd and 1. 9 minutes and 32 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They're on their own 20. So Lamar, they're on their own 20. It's 3rd and 1. Lamar is just standing there for multiple seconds with nobody in front of him. And never once did he think to take off. In fact, he backed up. in
Which
fact,
he seems to do a lot, Mark.
he backed up away from the yard line and just was like, "All right, I'm still going to look for somebody to pass to." And so it ended up being 4th and 3.
Yeah,
Luckily for them, they converted anyway. But
yeah,
that was just one of the most egregious things, and one of the things that let you know how the whole game went.
yeah. That play is like if I had to show you how the Ravens lost, and I only had one play to do it, that's the play that I would show you because, like you said, he's in the pocket clean. They're not even at that point. I don't even think they were really trying to rush him. They were kind of, but not really. He steps back. He drops back like another 5 yards mark, and then he realizes nobody's open. He starts rolling out to his right as if he realizes that he could take off. And he starts sprinting a little bit. And when he realizes there's two linebackers shadowing him out in the field, and they're shadowing him from like 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage, Mark. They're not even near the line of scrimmage, mind you. So they're like 10, 15 yards away from him, but they're shadowing him. And once I think there was like either a cornerback or somebody came down from the outside, and it's like he just decelerated, Mark.
Yeah,
And then he ran, and then it looked like he was going to run out of bounds and try to take the extra yard, and then he just takes the tackle and falls to the ground for a 2 yard loss. It was the most inexplicable thing I had seen in a long time. And I was like, with a little bit of contact, Mark, he was going to take some contact. With a little bit of contact, he could have gotten 2 to 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, even after he hesitated and slowed down. That's the crazy thing. Like it was there for the taking, and he just said, "Nah, son, I'll take the 2 yard sack."
What bothered me is that the run was there for the taking for him the entire game. They showed you could see multiple times where Chiefs defensive line just stood up. Like they weren't engaging at all. They just stood up and was looking at Lamar like, go ahead and move, do something, like show us something. And I thought that was crazy that this offensive line would just stand there and create a pocket and let these guys not engage. Like, dog, if they're just going to stand there in front of you, pop them, knock them down. Don't just let them stand there.
Mhm.
Like, just like do something. Like, you just sitting there, like looking at him, and he's just looking at Lamar, like, and Lamar just standing there forever. What meanwhile, Chiefs players are now a lot of the time they were playing great coverage, but in other instances they're holding on for their life to these players to make sure they don't do nothing. I want to see in in the future matchup in the Super Bowl. I want to see that get cleaned up. I want to see I want to see the refs set the tone early, so that way we don't have no late calls or anything like that. I want them to set the tone early. Like if you hold on to somebody, this is on both sides of the ball. Throw the fucking flag. Set the tone. Say we not doing that today. I don't want to see you grabbing them by the jersey and none of that. Like just set the tone. Let them know I'm gonna be throwing this flag all day. So don't do it.
Yeah, yeah, and then when the second half comes, you don't have to throw the flag because they're just
Right.
not doing it. Right now, you're
Right.
just getting a clean game. Um, yeah, no, the refs. I don't want controversy from the refs in the Super Bowl. I can't remember a time outside of last year with the PI call. It's been outside of that. It's been a long time. It's not very many Super Bowls that you look back and say, okay, there was a referee controversy in this Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we
Well,
had the PI from last year, like I said, but
the PI from last year, the Tuck rule. Um,
that, which was a while ago. We had I'm
uh,
trying to think.
the Chiefs Buccaneers one. There was that penalty against Tyrann Matthew that was like, what the fuck is going on? Like it was on a very huge play, and then they erased it with what seemed like a bogus penalty. But outside of that, the Chiefs players just weren't there to catch that day.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, I'm just saying. I want a clean Super Bowl, man. I want a
mhm.
clean Super Bowl every year. I don't care who's playing. I want that shit to be clean. Refs, make sure that shit is clean. And make sure that you're not messing up calls, but also don't be swallowing your whistle on plays where you shouldn't be swallowing the whistle. Like you said, Mark, you don't like seeing them call a holding penalty when it's 20 yards away from the play and had no bearing on it.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
I think that is a very simple task and something very simple to ask is just don't throw the flag don't throw the flag away from the play. And don't hold on to the flag when the play happened right next to the penalty. Like like I don't understand what's happening here. Like they throw the flag when it had no bearing on what was going on, and then they hold on to the flag tight when it was clear as day that it affected the play. Like
yeah,
about the way that things have been going has been bothering me, and I don't necessarily think it's like a favoritism thing. I just think that these guys are either getting too long in the tooth, or they're not sitting in training properly long enough. Like this job, the refereeing job needs to be a full time job. Period.
yeah. We've been advocating for that for a long time. Um, yeah, but
Anyway, next up we have the 49ers. Um, the 49ers, I guess, defeating the Lions. Or should I say the Lions defeating themselves against the 49ers?
Hey, go ahead, read the next line. You know what I'm saying? Some teams have the favor of the football gods. It is what it is, man. Like um there's no mistake in it. I'm gonna leave this one off. For those like Troy said, I want to see him gloat. I'm not gloating. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's this is not what happened in the Packers game. Okay, this is not, you could say weather happened. There's a lot of wonky stuff that happened in that game. You know, Jordan Love is a young quarterback in his first year starting. There's a lot of things that happened in that game. It was a sloppy game on both sides in the Green Bay game. This game was complete and utter domination in the first half. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
Lions came out and they called Ben Johnson. First off, Ben Johnson already said he's coming back to the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
There is a 0% chance that he stays after next season. The man is getting a head coaching job somewhere. Okay, but Ben Johnson's play call was crazy. Okay, the end around to Jamison Williams, everything, man. That first half was a clinic. Okay, and it wasn't just the play calling. It wasn't just the execution by Jared Goff. They they did to us what we do to teams. They out physicaled us. Okay, we got bullied on the front lines. Their offensive line bullied our defensive line, and their defensive line bullied our offensive line. Okay, we were getting complete and utterly dominated in the first half, and they they literally just looked like, hey man, we're better than you in all facets of the game. Okay, that's what happened in the first half of that game. Okay, um, coaching everything, we were getting out coached. Defensive coordinator, it looked like, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't hold
Mm-hmm.
water in a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like he had no clue what to do. He had no clue what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Everything that Kyle Shanahan called was not working. Like you could say, okay, man, the Detroit Lions, they're really good at stopping the run. We understand that, but what we do is we establish the run. Guess what we had? We had 10 carries. Christian McCaffrey had 10 carries for 21 yards in the first half. Mark, we ran the ball 12 times. Okay, 12 times in the first half. That is the most that Kyle Shanahan has ran in the first half in like 8 weeks. Okay, all my complaints about him not running the ball as much as I want him to, he ran the ball. Mark, you know what I'm saying? So like we were just getting outdone, out physical, out coached everywhere. You know, so when you're down by 17 at half, the only way that you could come back is with help. Okay, you need the offense to not score at all. You know what I'm saying? And if the defense gave up 24 points in the first half, for them to pitch a shutout in the second half, not likely that it's just the defense stepping up or the defensive coordinator making an adjustment. Usually, 9 times out of 10, it's the offense on the other side helping you out, and that's what we got, man. We got the offense. Uh, we got help from the Lions offense. You know, Josh Reynolds dropping balls, very timely third, fourth down catches. We had Jameer Gibbs turning the ball over to us on their own 20 on the first play of that possession. Complete swing of momentum. Yeah, man, a lot of things happened in this game. And Brock Purdy did play great in the second half, and he did make a lot of plays. But we had help, man. Like we had help, man. The lucky play, the luckiest play I've seen in a in an AFC Championship game. You know what I'm saying? Or NFC Championship game. That Ayuk catch was crazy. Like there's a lot of things that happened to help us win this game. I cannot sit here and tell you that, oh well, we did everything to come back. Guess what? In order to come back from 17 down, you need the other team to completely fail, and that's what happened. The Lions completely shit the bed, as Mark was posting earlier on Facebook.
Yes.
Like they did, they shit all over themselves, Mark, and it was disgusting.
Yeah. Like it was the worst thing I ever
Yeah.
seen, man. They crapped themselves and like I was like, oh man, like you ever see somebody play with play with their own feces. That's what it looked like. Like, Doug, stop it. Stop. This is
Nah, it was
disgusting.
it was insane. Like I mean, that was like just the synopsis of the game. Like I could sit here and break down Niners plays for you, but none of that shit matters if the Lions come out and do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Just even for one possession, you know.
Yeah, like the Lions in this game did everything wrong. In the second half, they came out. Well, first of all, I felt the shift at the end of the first half. I'm going to be very particular about this. I believe that at the end of the first half, it was third down. Lions still had one timeout. It was 10 seconds left on the clock. They do not they do not run another play to get that touchdown, even though they're on like the 1 or 2 yard line. Instead, they come out and kick the field goal. And I said to myself, you could have ran a quick play and immediately called the timeout. You would have had like 2 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and
You,
or it's an incomplete pass, and you don't have to call a timeout.
yeah,
Like
right.
you, but yeah, like it's there for the taking. And Mark,
In
what I
that
wanted,
in that particular regard, I would me personally, I wouldn't have passed it because I wouldn't have wanted a chance for an interception or a chance for golf or someone to try to like force a to playmaker to play. Like then my next play would have been a dive play to David Montgomery. You either get it or you don't.
well, I was just gonna say, didn't we give up like 130 yards rushing in the first half?
Yeah.
Running the ball could be a 15-yard play at that point in time,
Right.
Mark. So what you're saying is true, and the one thing I wanted to add to that is it makes it more curious to me some of the play some of the decision making on for Dan Campbell. Um, the aggressive play calling that we're
Like
used to
why
seeing
weren't
from him
why
wasn't
weren't you
there.
aggressive there, but you were aggressive for the rest of the game? It
Yeah, it's a very weird thing that happened there. Yeah, and then not only why aren't you aggressive there, but Mark, everybody talks about how they make aggressive play calls sometimes. I'm talking about in general, NFL coaches make aggressive play calls sometimes because they have the momentum in the game. You can't tell me that there was a point in the game to where they had more momentum than that moment, man. Like you at that point, if you talking about having faith in your players that they'll make the play that you're gonna call in that moment, I would have had the utmost confidence in whatever play I called in that moment in the game. So there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have taken a shot there.
right. I mean, you take the shot, then you immediately call the
You got a
timeout if you
timeout.
don't get it. But
Yeah.
like the fact of the matter is, you had the opportunity
Mhm.
to be up 21 instead of being up 17, and being up 21 going into the half is a lot different. You were talking to me earlier about how Christian McCaffrey brought up that in the locker room they were just pretty much saying we're good. We're not down by 21. So we're
Yeah.
good.
They
Like
said we're only down 17, not 21. And as long as we're within that range, then we feel like we can score in a hurry, so it's not a big enough deficit. That's the way like they felt like being down 17 versus 21 meant something. It
right.
meant that we were still in the game.
And and then you come out and you allow it, and then that freakish thing happens, the freakish play happens. And and from there, you got you have the uh ball bounce off the helmet, and Ayuk heads up play by Ayuk like to locate the ball and catch it. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, his awareness better be 99
Hey,
in Madden from now on, dog. Because
hey, that was crazy. Well, I'll tell you what I told Tobias right after that. I said, "Hey," I said right after that play, I said, today Ayuk has been looking like he'll be a number one on everybody's team right now, right? I did say that he
uh,
played like it wasn't just that catch; he was just out there balling today. So or balling on Sunday. So
right.
nah, shout out to Ayuk. That was a high concentration catch.
Now, what I do want to bring up is that on the like there was that play. There was so many plays by Josh Reynolds that he missed. And then on the play where he goes to throw to St. Brown and he misses it because it falls a little bit short
Yeah,
in the fourth quarter. Josh Reynolds is running the other way open. Like he's open for a second, and it almost feels like Goff saw him and said fuck you, like because you've been letting me down all night, bro. Like, so I'm gonna go ahead and go elsewhere, bro. like because it almost that's what it almost felt like it was like, nah, bro, I'm not even chancing it to you at this point. um
yeah,
and and then you have the third and fourth play, um like where Brock Purdy takes off and he looks great in the takeoff, like the pockets collapsing and he takes off. Only problem with that play is that there was a holding call. I mean, there wasn't a holding call, but there was a definitive hold there. You and I both talked about it. Um, Aiden Hutchinson looked like he was doing a smooth criminal lean because he was being held up in the air while trying to dive, while trying to reach out at Brock Purdy, but he was being held up by the guard and they didn't call it. And again, I don't think that it was necessarily a malicious thing or anything like that, but it was a missed call. And my problem with it is that it was a missed call right next to where the action is happening. You have you Not only do you have a line judge, you have a person that is dedicated to watching for holding calls and all that stuff. That's his job. But it is also happening where the ball is. Like, it's not like it's happening on this side of the field. It's happening directly next to the ball because Aiden Hutchinson is trying to make the tackle. Like, so I don't like when plays like that is missed right next to the ball. Like you and that's a game changing play because that would have went from that instead of that being the first down, that's third and 14. Like, now I'm not saying that you guys couldn't make that third and 14 because maybe a throw to the middle to Jawan.
Jawan Jennings, boy, you know who he is, Mark. You don't got to stutter and stammer on the name, boy.
Yeah,
You
nah,
asked
nah,
who he
man.
was
I don't
earlier in
know
the
who he is.
season. You know who he is now, don't you?
Nah, I don't
That's
know who
two
he is.
weeks in a row. He done made some amazing catches. You know what? Go ahead.
Like I
I'm
said,
gonna step down for a second. My bad, Mark. I'm getting too excited. Go
but
ahead.
like I said, Jawan Jennings, you know what I'm saying? That was a play to him. Like, it could have been a play to him that get that to the third and 14, get that a first down, or it could not have been. But it either way, it should have been a third and 14, but it
Yeah,
wasn't. It allowed the momentum to keep stacking, and it wasn't stacking in the Lions' favor, and the Lions couldn't figure themselves out from there. So,
yeah.
I
Well,
and I really hate to say the Lions as much as need to say Josh Reynolds. Like, I don't put like
he killed a couple drives, man.
I never
Yeah,
wanted to put a loss on a singular player more in my life. Like, outside of a quarterback. Like, it's usually like because it's usually like I could point to so many other things that would have led up to it that I can't just say this player on this play. But no, Josh Reynolds on multiple plays, wide open on third down and fourth downs, just let this team down.
but there was two. Like there was the fourth down play obviously ended that drive, and
Right.
then the third down play led to a punt. So like you both times he killed a drive. Both of them he killed a drive, and this both times the Niners turned back around, went down the field and scored. So like that, it's a direct correlation to them helping us of how they helped us score. And like I said, that LeBron stat that they put up saying that it's the fastest that anybody's ever come back and closed a 17-point deficit, 8.5 minutes. The reason why it happened in 8.5 minutes is because Josh Reynolds killed 2 drives.
Right.
Like he killed 2 drives dead in his tracks. Like that's what happened. He
Yeah,
got
like
he got the lines up off the field quick. You know.
absolutely ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
So it is like when it came to that stuff, it is what it is. This is where we
Yeah.
are. Um, but anyway, like we could go to the next topic, which is um keys going forward for the championship game. How
Okay.
can the losers improve, and what adjustments the winners need to make? Hey, he said, man. Rob said, man had a case of Nelson Aguilar hands.
Bro, that's
Hey,
crazy.
hey, listen. I want to point out that in the Super Bowl, Nelson Aguilar was a god against you guys.
Yeah.
Against the Patriots,
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar played like a monster in 2017.
Hey,
I
you
just
know
that's all I want to say.
it's funny that somebody mentioned Nelson Aguilar dropping balls in the fucking Ravens game because that man has been. I don't think I've seen him miss a catch since he been with the Ravens.
Yeah, he's figured it out.
Hey, look,
He's figured it out.
it's
He,
crazy,
he's
man.
been all over the place. He has
Boy,
had stints everywhere,
yeah,
and yet
yeah. Hey, sit down, Dan
see, look,
Campbell.
hey, you know what? Sean asked me about this, Troy.
Yeah,
Sean asked me about this comment. He asked me, Dan Campbell kept it real as he could. We might not even make it again. Like, and Sean said, yo, he said, yo, how do you feel about that? Um, he said, and I told him, I was like, that's about as honest as you can be, dog. Like, I was like, right now he's hurt. Like, he don't like, and he know the truth. And some of those guys need to hear the truth. Like, look, man, this was our opportunity. A lot of the things that we did this season and the way that we got here, it may not be that way next year. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that we got here this year, the Eagles fell apart. You know what I mean? Like the Cowboys, well, they did what they normally do anyway. But the Eagles fell
Eagles
apart.
is a good example because
Yeah,
everybody expected them. They were expected to at least make it to the fucking NFC Championship game and walk into it essentially. So yeah, and that didn't even happen. You can get things can get derailed very quickly. So I do get what you're saying about the honesty. It's about as honest as it get. He said some of them need to hear it. The first thing that came in my mind when you said some of them need to hear that, I like, so he Melvin and Baby Boy?
yeah,
Nah, he need to hear this. You know what I'm saying? You Dan Campbell in the locker room talking to him about guns and butter.
yeah.
I just life is about guns and butter. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like I get it. Like I can share that sentiment, but I just know how it works when you have a team of 53 people, man. There's about 14 there's about 14 dudes in the locker room that's gonna take what he said, and they're gonna derive the inspiration and the fire that's gonna light a fire under them to be like, I can't accept that, right? And then there's gonna be like 35 other guys that are gonna be like, man, that's sad. They're gonna be depressed over it. I need to speak to the majority, which is usually the other guys on the team,
Nah,
and I need to
nah,
speak to
man. I
them.
don't know. The guys that's depressed over it, I'm glad I know who you are now. So because I know who needs not to be here.
Hey, that would be nice if that's what was gonna happen. But I just don't like. They're not gonna be like, okay, man, dog. Who want this shit? Like that's like you
Yeah,
don't want it. Get out of here. You know what I'm
you
saying?
know
That's
what I'm
not what's
saying?
gonna. I mean, I would love for that to happen, Mark, and I would fully support what he's doing right now. And what he said, if that was the case, be like, nah, we separating that shit right now, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I do like the fact that he said he understands what it is. I might be overstating this, Mark, specifically because of Dan Campbell's personality. He is a man of the people. He is a player, a player's coach that was a player. So and the players relate to him as a player. I don't think they're going to take what he said honestly and be like, well, we don't have a chance. I think they're actually going to take in everything that he said, which is we might it this might have been our only shot, but I also think they're going to take in to account what he said when he said, but I believe that we won't get here. No. I think his belief in the team is still going to resonate through the locker room. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're going to hang on to, even if they're one of the people that say to themselves, "Man, we might not get back, but you know what? Coach believes in us, so we're going to play as hard as we can and do everything we can to get there." So I might be overstating it. I think they understand Dan Campbell when he speaks. I don't think they take in what he says the same way that they would take it in if he was a regular everyday coach, Mark. So I'll give him that. The relationship that he has with those players is different. So I do think that they understand that that is an emotional moment and that he was just being honest.
Right. All right. So
Yeah.
look, like you said, but going into that, like saying like we might not be here next year. How can the losers improve? What adjustments do the winners need to make? All right. Well, first of all, how can the losers improve? Well, first of all, Ravens, you can just continue to be tigers. Like we talk about not changing your stripes, just continue to be tigers, guys. Don't like you guys went out there and said, you know what? We got black stripes. Today, I think I want to be a zebra. like
Yeah.
like like no, you a tiger, dog. Don't be a zebra today. You went out there and said, nah, we gonna do something else. We've been relying on running all year. We're gonna pass like we lost our minds.
Yeah.
Don't
But
don't do that.
yeah.
Be the same thing that got you there. Like and as far as the Lions go, the I don't have no answers for you, dog, because your game, you guys was a roller coaster all year. It wasn't nothing. I don't really feel as though it was anything truly methodical about the way you got there. I think it was just like this was lightning in the bottle for the Lions, and truly, I truly question if you even make the play. Like I question if you make the playoffs next year. To
It,
be honest,
well, the team that I thought they were going to be, Mark, is who I thought they showed me that they were this year. The
hmm
difference between them being the team that I thought they would be and the team that they became, Mark, is the aggressive fourth down play calling. That has been the difference maker in this year. Is the thing about that, Mark, is everything comes back into balance. The same way the Vikings last season won every single close game that they had. What happened this year? They lost every single close game that they had. Like everything comes back into balance. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So if you overachieved this year and you did it by taking risks, they were 15 of 20 on fourth down, Mark. I don't know if you're going to be 15. You can't bank on being 15 to 20 on fourth down next year. You can't hang your season on that. It's not solid. It's not a solid foundation, Mark. So,
hold
um,
on, hold on, hold on. Chris said, I think you're shortchanging them. They had some key injuries in the secondary early this season and started getting people back towards the end. Who's he?
the
Which
Lions.
you talking about the Lions? Okay.
Talking about the Lions, they had injuries in the secondary, yes, and they had guys go down in the divisional round on the offensive line. We know that. So they had at least they had two guys go down in the divisional round. One of them was actually playing in the excuse me playing in the championship game hurt. So yeah, like I understand that the injuries were there, but I mean, the same way that you could say they had injuries in the secondary, I could say our best defensive back wasn't there. Hufunga's been gone all year.
All
Like,
right.
and I'm not saying that to say that, oh man, like we have to get credit for that. No, um, it, most of these teams have some sort of injury to an important player somewhere. Okay, as a starter. Okay, there's not. I don't think there's any of these teams that came into these two games that had 100% of their starters. So, and let's be honest, you can say something about the secondary, but the secondary wasn't the problem. So whatever injuries that they had in the secondary was not the issue in this game. So I don't feel like it's relevant to bring it up. Um, yeah. So there was something that was brought up earlier by Robert, but I'm going to address now because we're talking about keys going forward, right? Um, it, I'm I'm about to actually, you know what? I'm gonna save Robert's comment for later because I want to talk about the Lions real quick. The Lions going forward, you have to have more of a solid foundation other than the fourth down plays.
Yeah.
They have to improve their usage of Jamison Williams. I feel like he hasn't been a factor all season. He was more of a factor in this game than he has been in any game for the entirety of the season. And I
Now,
think
mind you, now to be fair, he was like he came back mid-season, and
no,
so
no, yeah,
and they revved him up slow. So
yeah,
maybe.
and I do get that. I just feel like that, but that's something that they have to um, deliberately
Hmm.
incorporate into their offense is the usage of Jamison Williams, which I believe they will do. I believe the Detroit Lions, as good as they were, as much improved as they were on defense, a lot of their free agent acquisitions were to their secondary, and yet they were like 28th in pass defense. So they have to make that count. They have to get better against the pass. They were fantastic against the run. They showed that in the first half versus us, man. They was shutting down McCaffrey. So yeah, they need to get better against the pass. They need to incorporate Jameson Williams. And I also believe that um, they need to ensure that Jared Goff continues to get the protection, the level of protection from his offensive line that he's had, because it's like once we started getting pressure on him in the second half, that's when things started to change a little bit.
Mm.
It wasn't really the main problem, but it's something I would keep an eye on if I was the Detroit Lions. But I don't think the Detroit Lions have a whole lot that they need to change, but absolutely Jameson Williams has to get fully incorporated into that offense to ensure that you can't focus on anybody, one person, just like how people treat us. You can't just focus on one person. And then that secondary absolutely has to play better. I don't know if it's coaching or personnel, but you can't be 28th in the league against the pass. Um,
Right. This is why I'm saying like I doubt that they're going to get back, man. Like everything you said is like one of the many reasons that I'm like, all right, man. Like you guys are working on something good, but like there was a lot of uncertainty in the way that you got there. There
yeah,
was that like none of the way that they got there is things that I can definitively hang my hat on for them.
yeah, okay. And then I don't know if you wanted to go. Did you have anything to add to the Lions? What they need to do?
Um, no, not really. No, I think actually no, I don't. I don't have
Okay,
anything.
and then okay, and then for the Ravens, I'll let you speak to the Ravens. What do you think they need to do moving forward if
Well,
they wanna push past this NFC Championship game or have a chance to even be in it and win it?
I just said it. They just need to be a tiger. That's it. Like
Be who
don't
you are.
don't don't be anybody else. Just be the person that got you there. Like you got there and then started acting different. Don't do that. Be be the person that got you there.
Yeah, I can't agree more. It, and I'll be specific.
And what was
Um,
because the what was crazy about that is that like we brought it up. We brought it up throughout this thing is that you literally you had it. Like the things that got you there were working. It's not like the things that got you there wasn't working, so you needed to change up and adjust. No, the
Hmm.
things that got you there was working, and you said, "Nah, I don't want to do that. I want to be somebody else today." Like that's not how it should go.
Yeah, it was uncanny. It was something that happened that I did not expect to happen. Remember, I want you to remember this, Mark. You said you said keys for the favorite team not to lose. That's what we went over
Right.
last week. Remember what I said? I said I felt like it's not even worth mentioning that the Ravens have to run the ball with Lamar because it's something that I just know that they're going to do. And lo and behold, they didn't do it, Mark. I was so confident that I didn't have to say that because I just knew in my heart of hearts that Lamar was going to run. He showed me that in the Texans game. So I was shocked. I was very, very shocked when that's what it came down to. Is like, there's no way you could have told me going into that game that they were going to lose because Lamar didn't run and because they refused to hand the ball off. Like, there's no way you could have told me that.
Right.
So yeah, don't change who you are. Do what you do best, and especially if what you do best is most efficient against what the opposing defense does best. They're going to come out and man because that's what they do. What you do is perfect for that. You have to go to it. So even if it wasn't perfect for it, Mark, you still have to be who you are and you still have to go for it. You have to keep that. If that defense is locking up those receivers, you need those DBs to be preoccupied with the thought of you running. Okay, so that's it, man. Like, be who you are, Ravens. All right, so I want to talk about I'm going to talk about the Niners and what they need to do moving forward because I feel like there's just so many more things dealing with the Niners than there is with the Chiefs.
I thought we were going to talk about that stuff next week.
Oh no, I said the topic was what adjustments they can make. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm not going to break down what they need to do versus the Chiefs. I'm just saying an internal look after these games. The Niners need to look at what they're doing wrong. And the biggest thing to me is slow starts. Cannot have slow starts. It doesn't matter what's going on the other side with the other team. You cannot have slow starts. Generally speaking, that seems to be the biggest thing. And it happened on offense and it happened on defense. It happened on both sides of the ball. There's so much stuff going on with that I cannot. I mean, simply we could point to a million reasons why it's happened in both of these games. But instead of trying to figure that out, that's all I'm going to say is the Niners, no slow starts. And that's for not just for this Super Bowl coming up. That's going forward because guess what? You cannot always be fortunate. You cannot always be lucky.
Right.
In the Chiefs, to be honest, the adjustments that they can make, they already made it. They had Kadarius Toney on the bench.
Well, yeah, no, the Chiefs did no. He's not on the bench. He didn't even show up for the game. And I want to bring up, how do you feel about the fact that he was on Instagram talking? Well, he was on socials talking about he's not hurt. He's like, I'm not hurt.
Oh no. I saw it, Mark. And I do want to mention this. Kadarius
Like,
Toney.
yo, he was in an all black room, like he was like on 60 Minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like, what
So
was he doing?
here's my issue, Mark. Yo, remember what I said? I went back to the episodes. I watched a bunch of old episodes to figure out what we were saying about teams going into the playoffs. Like, this is back early in the season. It's like week 3. I watched the episode and guess what I said? Because you were saying no, it was like week 8, and you said at what point do you think they should have done something about Kadarius Toney? And I said after week 3, after week 1, he would have only had 2 more weeks with me, right? And I said all that stuff about Kadarius Toney. But I said at the end of the day, I would have already cut him. I said, but the Chiefs are going to let him go out with dignity and they're going to let him play out the rest of the season. Mark, if there's ever a way for you to ruin the fact that the Chiefs are trying to let you go out with dignity, is you know why you're a healthy scratch, bro. You know exactly why you're a healthy scratch. For you to go out there and snitch on your team, bro. Like,
Like, bro,
You're wilding, man.
bro, like they're doing you a favor by saying
Yeah.
you're hurt, because if they say you're a healthy scratch, people are going to be like, why is he a healthy scratch? And then they're going to be like, because he sucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's trash. That's why.
They- They're
Like,
trying their best to help you out, my man. Do you want to play on the NFL team next year? Do you? Because it seems like you don't, man. Because guess what? If
hey,
I'm an
no,
NFL
no.
team,
See, he going to be on the CFL team in March.
or the UFL, he gonna be in.
Yeah, but no, whatever it's called
Well,
now.
CFL is Canadian football.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I don't think they'll even take him. I think he's gonna end up in the UFL. He
like
go, hey, USFL and
whatever the
XFL combined, boy. He
the
gonna be,
XFL
yeah.
slash UFL is called
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like,
it's called the UFL now. So like that's where he's gonna. You're right. That's where he's gonna end up because not only are you not playing great, look, all we asking you to do is sit your ass home. Like Mark, do you remember being in basic training and you get to your graduation and there's just people that can't march and it's like, yo, we doing parade and there's no way that we can allow you to even be on the field. They gave those people a doctor's note and told them to go to the dorm room. There was like three people from my flight that they was just like, "You not gonna be here, bro. You can tell your parents don't show up to parade. You're not gonna be there. Sit in the dorm room with your sick note. I don't care what it says, but it's gonna say that you're unhealthy and you're not coming here, right? That's what they did to him. And all you have to do is sit in the room and shut the hell up, okay?
right.
and Kadarius Tony goes on social media because he wants everybody to know that they're doing him wrong when honestly, like you said, they're doing him a favor, man. It's
Crazy stuff.
crazy. So I would look at that as a future team and be like, yo, I can't trust him. Forget him being bad. I can't even trust him to shut up when we need him to shut up.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Like, so it's just wild to me that he did that. That he did that. But
Yeah,
another thing that's wild to me is, this is the last topic of the evening as well, is the curious case of Joel Embiid. It's wild to me that Joel Embiid, for the fifth year in a row, has not played a game in Denver. We talked about it last week, or yeah, we talked about it
we
last
did.
week, and we said that he should. And I called it. I was like, don't take. I was like, do not go ahead and play that game against the Pacers just so you could sit out a game that you haven't played in 5 years. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. And that's exactly what he did. But this time he wasn't alone. Not
They
only
try
did
to
he
pull some slick shit, Mark. Go ahead.
not only did he miss the game, but Tyrese Maxey missed the game. Uh, Everybody missed the game
all
except for
this all five starters were not let me make it clear because we talked about it as it was happening in real time. And when Mark brought to my attention, he hit me up. He's like, yo, man, four of the five started. All the other starters not named Embiid are out. But Embiid seems like he's still in the lineup. He said he's available to play, all this other stuff. And then it went from that to being he's questionable. And then it went from that to being he's not going to play. And it was like 30 minutes before game time. So it was strange to us off the bat when we saw that four of the five starters weren't going to play, and then Embiid was the only one. We thought it was funny, and we thought it was like, no, man, you're not going to sit here, play that game, and have the excuse of, well, my other guys weren't there, so that's what happened. So lo and behold, it was all set up so that he could be like, well, there's no reason for me to play if I'm kind of hurt and nobody else is here. It's almost so. But what I love about what happened, Mark, is I'm not even gonna lie, Mark. Mike Malone reminds me so much of Bruce Arians, but he's like a more thugged out version, bro. He said, he said, I don't know how you go from being active, available to out. I'm sure the league will do the due diligence because that's frowned upon. Hey, Mike Malone be talking, boy. And Mike Malone's absolutely right, and I'm glad that he spoke up and said something because I'm sure everybody else was just going to keep their mouth shut and then act like it's nothing.
But here's my thing about that, man. About the whole situation, like, because beyond that, this, like, just to be serious about it for a moment, because I don't necessarily know if whether or not he's afraid or whatever, afraid of Embiid in Denver or whatever. I don't know. Maybe his knee was actually a little hurt or whatever. But Here's my issue, and this is my real issue, and what it comes down to. Sixers are not serious about winning a championship. I'm I'm going to read this comment from Troy before I get into this. I don't
Yeah.
watch Sixers games as much as I used to, but but when did this asthma excuse start with Embiid? Can't play in Denver or Utah. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up about the asthma thing. And so they're talking about because of the altitude and everything that this is why they don't want to necessarily, maybe they hold them out for these reasons. Yeah, these reasons that they keep giving lets me know that they're not serious about basketball. They're not serious about winning a championship. They could keep talking as if they're serious about winning a championship, but you're not, because there's no way that you have aspirations of playing in the championship and winning a championship, and you're not looking at sizing up your opponent who could possibly see you in the championship. As of right now, I would give it an 80% chance that Denver is winning the Western Conference. And
Yeah.
they are going to be the guys that you see in the championship. Like, you could look at the landscape of the Western Conference right now and see, it's kind of shaky over there. And they know not many people are challenging Denver right now. Like, it's really shaky over there. Like maybe Dallas has an outside shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Somebody like that that
Depends
has
on
a,
how much you trust the
yeah,
Clippers.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like
Like
or the Clippers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Clippers have a shot. Like, but for the most part, it's like, nah, Denver is still the dogs over there. They won it last year, and they still the dogs over there. You know what I mean? Like, you expect Phoenix to figure it out so you can play in
no.
warm sunny weather, like like
No.
bro.
Yeah. And to your point, Mark, here's the biggest thing about it, man. It's if your asthma is a problem
Then
to
you want to go see what that feels like. You want to go see
it,
what that
yeah,
feels like. You need to go see what that feels like.
like
Because guess
are
what?
you telling
You
go
gonna
ahead.
guess what? I don't think you're gonna have to play at least three if you go to the championship, or if that's your goal. You're gonna have to play at least 3 games in Denver. At least three.
Yeah,
And that's if you can end with a better record than Denver. If you
yeah,
can't end with a better record than Denver, then you're playing 4 games there, and
yeah,
two of them is back to back. Like, one this night, and then the day off, and then you playing it again.
yeah,
Like that. That's literally how that goes. And you mean to tell me you getting held out for these reasons? Like, bro, you're not serious about basketball, because you need to go feel that. You need to understand what you're. If you plan on being in the championship, you need to understand what you possibly going to put your body through, and you haven't experienced that in 5 years at
yeah,
all.
yeah. It you're not preparing for the championship. This you I don't want to hear championship hopes. I don't want to hear championship talks. I don't want to hear about how you're striving to win an NBA championship if you because if you are, then part of that process will be going to Denver, knowing that that's who you're probably going to face if you come out of the East. And like I said, but my issue is, let's say you're not preparing. Fine, cool. But let me tell you, saying that your asthma is a problem, and if it really truly is a problem, Mark, then what you're telling me is don't expect you to be available in the finals. And I
Exactly.
have a problem with that. I honest to God have a problem with you saying that you're not going to be available in the finals.
Yeah.
But that's the message that's being sent right now, because you're telling me you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to happen in the finals? Now, if you show up in the finals and play, then that means you could have done it, which means you could have prepared. Okay? Because I'm telling you, the first time you have to go up there and play, and now you're having problems getting up and down the court. and it's game one of the finals, that is not the time to be saying, you know what, man, whew, I got to get used to this. Nah, you should have got used to that shit 5 years
Right.
ago. Like,
Exactly.
like that's the issue, man. Like you can't, you have to prepare yourself, man. And the lack of preparation and the attitude towards it is more like it's not even just the lack of preparation; it's the attitude towards it. You think it's unimportant. That lets me know that your mindset is still not ready. You are not of a championship mindset, Mark.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not looking at at who your possible opponents are at all. Like, bro, if your knee was bothering you, or if anything, like you should have been like, yo, I'm sitting out this Pacers game, and I'll play the Denver one. Like, dog, like that's crazy. Like that. And in fact, I'm kind of like I look at Nick Nurse that way. Like, bro, like what are you doing? You sat out everybody against Denver. You should have wanted to see what your guys had against Denver. You should have wanted to see that.
not only would I want to see what my guys got against Denver, I want to see what Denver has. I
Right.
want. I'm here to scout. I can't properly scout if I have my backups in. Like, I need to
Now
see what type of shit they're doing.
now people will say, but they did play Denver. They played Denver and Philly. Yeah, that's great. They played Denver and Philly. You didn't play Denver and Denver. And it's not
Hostile
like
environment.
it's not like playing anywhere else. You know that. You as a head coach know that being playing in Denver is not like playing in Miami. Like you know that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know that for a fact. It's two different things. It's a different beast. They said out there that that Pat Bev was out there like bent over sucking for wind, like talking about like damn, we still got to do this shit. Like that's what everybody needed to feel. They
yeah,
Everybody needed to feel like fuck, I'm like we still got time on the clock and I'm burnt.
yeah. You
Like
you need to be mentally prepared for that.
right.
Mark, let me tell you something, and this is like on a whole nother lower level, not even close. I went from Okinawa, Japan, sea level,
Mhm.
to Clovis, New Mexico, 5,000 feet elevation. As soon as
Mhm.
I got there, I remember trying to get myself to run a mile and a half mark, and I ran 2.5 laps, and I was like, "Yo, I'm done." And I was like, "I know they said it's different, but this shit is different." And then when I talk to other people, they're like, oh yeah, you come here, it automatically adds two to 2.5 minutes to your mile and a half." I was like, what? They're like 2 minutes? They was like, yeah. It, it's gonna add 2 minutes just because you're not used to the air. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to show up here, immediately hit the ground running, and train your lungs to
Right.
be able to do this. And now let's say some of it is mind over matter, Mark. If that's the case, I need to know what I'm up against mentally,
Right.
know how I need to prepare myself mentally. When I look up at that clock, I don't want to feel like Pat Bev when I look up at the clock and it's saying we got 2 minutes left in the third quarter. I don't want to be looking at the clock in the third quarter and saying, my God, how am I going to finish this game? I can't be in that scenario if we're in the finals. So,
Right. But
yeah,
but you know what I'm saying, like, but here, and part of the issue is that Joel Embiid already experienced this. He's already experienced being in game 6 and 7 and being like, I don't got it. Like it happened just last year.
what's his name was talking to him, had to talk to him on the sideline. Damn, I always forget his name. I'll remember later.
Yeah, I don't know who you
Yeah,
talking
the 6'4" center. That's all I
about.
know. Yeah,
But yeah, like you can't be in there like talking about I don't got it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you got to figure that out. You got to start preparing yourself. But he don't want to do that. He don't want to play that way, and that's where we are. So, um, but either way, um, this that right there just tells me that the Sixers, even if they make it, they're not going to win. But that lets me know that they're not ready for those aspirations.
yeah. PJ Tucker is the name I was looking for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead. No,
But
he's not. You're not ready. You're right. Not ready.
but I will say this. Shout out to Pat Bev for trying to get them there. But Doug, you might be barking at the wrong dogs there, bro.
You fighting the uphill battle. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You're gonna feel. I just brought up PJ Tucker. You're gonna feel what PJ Tucker was feeling. Cause PJ Tucker had to be on the sideline. What the hell are you talking about, man? Like, what is you saying? Like,
right.
I remember that clearly. Like, fuck is you talking about? Like, you tired? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like,
Like, yeah, that ain't gonna work, man. And
that's crazy talk. It's like we don't.
I'm gonna have
we
to
in
let Pat
playoffs.
Bev know these dogs don't hunt. These
Hey, look,
dogs don't hunt, bro.
saying these some house dogs, inside dogs, baby.
Hey, but you
Hey,
might. I mean, you might have a future hunter in Tyrese, but
nah, I like Tyrese, man. But yeah, nah, yeah, Joel Embiid, like I said, this right here, Mark, is letting me know that I don't care how good the Sixers look and how good Embiid looks up until this point, even if they dominate all the way through the Eastern Conference, which I don't think they will. But even if they do dominate all the way through the Eastern Conference playoffs, I just this is going to stick out as a key moment, and it's gonna have me saying this is going to rear its ugly head at the point
mm-hmm.
where you don't want it to. This is an issue.
Yep,
It seems small now, but this is absolutely going to come back up, and I guarantee it.
exactly. But
So,
anyway, guys, that's all we have for this episode. I apologize for the video acting up and not wanting to play. I don't understand why I did that, but um, it is what it is. It kind of ruined some things that I wanted to go over, but we have to
yeah,
move on and press. But anyway, um, with that being said, thank you for watching. We'll get at you guys next time. Next Tuesday, we will be going over um, like our predictions for the Super Bowl, things that we expect to see there.
yeah,
Spoiler alert: Sean thinks San Fran is going to win. Uh,
yeah. Spoiler. I don't know if that's a spoiler anymore, Mark, but
but
yeah,
yeah,
man.
Um, but listen, I'm gonna tell. And spoiler alert, I am rooting for the Chiefs, and it has a whole lot less to do with San Fran and more to do with the fact that I am just rooting for greatness. I
I was just gonna stand up for you, Mark. I was gonna tell him, look, man, you're a Pat Mahomes guy. I'm a Pat Mahomes guy. To be honest, I know I was asked a question about him surpassing guys on the all-time greats list, and
I mean, I already
I
I answered that question, and I said,
yeah,
and my answer to that question was he passed Peyton Manning in a loss in the in in this in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers. Patrick Mahomes surpassed a lot of quarterbacks. Like because that was the greatest quarterback play I have ever seen in a loss. Like he played his ass off.
yeah.
Just nobody around him was playing.
What the thing I would say about that is he looked better in his loss than Peyton Manning looked in his win in Denver.
Yes.
I yes, and I'll leave it at that. He gets more credit for that than the Peyton gets for that second ring. Um, but yeah, no, but either way, you're a fan. You're somebody who is a fan who wants to see greatness. I want to see greatness on the other side of that.
Well, I want to
I
see
want,
greatness. I want to see greatness without cheating.
yeah, I just want to see greatness on the other side of it. Um, But I think no matter what happens here, greatness will be witnessed because if the Niners are able to win, then you're gonna be, the greatness part of that is you watch the last pick of the draft as a QB in his second year come out and get a Super Bowl ring. And let's be very clear about it. There's no way that we can win this game without him being a huge part of it. So, like I said, if we did win, it'll be a page in history, and it also will be a page in history if the Chiefs win. going to the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years
Three of them.
and winning three. Like that's, I mean, people watched the Patriots happen and said it probably won't happen for a long time, and then boom, Patrick Mahomes shows up. So,
And to be truthful, they probably would have beat the Rams if Cincinnati didn't get in their
oh
way.
yeah, oh yeah, I think so. I think so.
So,
But yeah,
all right.
um,
But yeah, man.
thanks for hanging out with us, folks, man.
Peace.
Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the episode.